As a survivor of narcissistic abuse, you wonder, what drives a narcissist? Where do they get so much energy from? Because it takes a lot of efforts to maintain their false self, their shape-shifting nature. It takes a lot of energy to manipulate, gaslight, and to fake things they do not genuinely feel or experience. Things can be really simple. In the context of a romantic relationship, only a few ingredients are needed: respect, loyalty to each other, consideration, compassion, and empathy. But a narcissist makes it far more complicated than it has to be. So, what drives them? Where do they get that energy from? Let's find out in today's episode. Hi, I am Danish, a narcissistic abuse recovery professional. In today's episode, we are going to talk about what drives a narcissist's behavior, why don't they get tired, and so on. If that sounds interesting and you're eager to learn more with me, please make sure to subscribe before we begin, because as I always say, your subscription to this channel helps spread awareness about narcissistic abuse. You see, a narcissist cannot live a simple, normal life, because living a simple and a predictable normal life is very boring to them. They have to have a lot of unpredictability going on, because that creates a chase. The more they chase something, the better they feel when they get it. They have to have those dopamine hits. They have to have those highs. Why? They're driven by their insecurities, that shame that lies underneath that false self. So when they focus on things that are high risk, let's say, or that consume a lot of their time and energy, they feel so good about themselves when they finally get that thing, that person, because it kind of in their mind proves they are amazing, they're truly omnipotent and really powerful. Which is to say, a narcissist's personality is driven by one emotion, and guess what it is? It's greediness. Greed of having more, wanting more, chasing more, acquiring more, doing more is what drives their behavior. That is the underlying emotion that motivates everything they do. Let me give you a couple of examples. They may have you in their life, and you may be everything they have ever wanted. The partner they have always wanted to be with. You may be capable of fulfilling all their needs, yet still they won't be satisfied. Why? Because they need more. They're used to those feelings. They chase those sensations, that instant gratification, because of their impulsivity. Their greed keeps them in a constant state of dysphoria. When they go out looking for someone new or something new, in their head there is this assumption that I am going to find something better. It's quite contradictory, because on one hand they may think they're committed to you and they'll come back to you, but then on the other hand they give themselves the permission to go looking for something else because they don't feel satisfied with you, and that is your fault, so it is okay for them to cheat on you. The second example is of materialism. The narcissist may have everything they need to live a very satisfied, fulfilled life, but they don't have peace. So what do? They go and hunt for another piece of property, more money. They become hoarders of wealth, let's say. And that is also driven by their greed. In this case, I can give you an example of my father. Two things that he's always thirsty for: land, money. He can have all the earth for himself, yet still feel dissatisfied. I don't know what part of his narcissistic self feels big and amazing when he acquires a piece of land, but it's almost like it becomes an extension for him. It gives him some kind of momentarily satisfaction, which then fades away, but he keeps acquiring more and more, even when he already has more than enough. Too money. He can have a lot of it, yet at the same time be really, really frugal with his money. A miser, I would say. Does not want to spend. He would rather let his money rot than spend it on his family. I created a full episode on it recently. Their insatiable thirst for supply is what manifests as that greediness. They let this shadow self of themselves take over their life, take the driver's seat, and let it take them in directions they should not be going. Because all of these directions lead to dead ends. But they don't want to understand that. They just are driven by what they feel in that moment. There is a very destructive association between their greediness and the ultimate result, because they have had numerous experiences of feeling this greediness, and then that greediness pushing them to get what they want. When they go after it, they feel the chase, they feel the high, and ultimately when they get it, they get that dopamine hit. So their mind perceives this greediness as something positive, and it is not willing to let it go. So they are stuck in a cycle created by their own miserable narcissistic self. How would they change? This also describes their resistance to reflection and to understanding that there is something terribly wrong with them. Feeling greedy for them is one of the easiest ways to get what they want. They feel greedy to get more. They feel justified in wanting to get more, and when they go after getting more, they just get it. So it's their known pathway. They're not going to leave it. It's one of the easiest pathways to follow. When you are asking them to change, you are asking them to shun this greediness, this desire for more, this desire for something new, and settle down for what they have in their life. Just feel satisfied in what they have, with the person they have in their life. Then they will never be willing to do so, because as I said earlier, their shadow self, their narcissistic greediness is what has taken over, and it's the demon riding them. It's the demon that won't let them see the truth. A narcissist's desire for a lot of attention and admiration is what pushes them to keep their facade of charm intact. The charm they don't actually have, but they pretend to be charming because they know they are going to get a lot of attention. So that is their greed in action. Their greed also shows up when they manipulate people, when they belittle people, when they put people down, when they take advantage of people's positive emotions. What is the greed in there? To feel they are powerful, to have the upper hand in any situation. That is the greed for power. They won't let go because this greed has multiple facets, multiple roots, multiple origins in them. It has made itself home in their psyche. They will not let it go, and at the same time it is their driving force. The problem is they have accepted this greed as something positive, as something they feel justified to have, as something they're not willing to let go. So there is no possibility for them to change, because as long as they stay greedy, as long as they let this emotion drive their life, they are going to stay stuck in the narcissistic, miserable cycle of chasing something new, which does not give them actual satisfaction. Why else would they run after people, after things, one after the other, and never settle for something permanently? As much as it might hurt you to hear this, but their greediness for new things, for new supply, is more than the love they feel for you, which is why you should let go, because they're already drowning, yet they may not want to accept that. That was it for today's episode. I hope you found it insightful. If you did, let me know in the comments. Share this episode with your friends and family and people who may want to hear this, and take care of yourself. I'll talk with you in the next one. Until then, as always, let the healing begin and continue.